Look at any map of global energy and trade, and you will eventually find your way to a tiny fraction of the ocean, connecting the Persian Gulf to the open sea. Billions of dollars in crude oil and natural gas squeeze through this narrow passage every single day. That concentration of wealth makes the region a severe geopolitical vulnerability. Recently, Donald Trump proposed a direct military solution, sending U.S. Navy vessels into the strait to confront Iran's restrictions with an aggressive counterblockade. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps immediately pushed back. They announced that any foreign military vessels approaching the strait would be treated as an active ceasefire violation, guaranteeing an armed retaliation. Many Western networks cover this as a sudden surge of Iranian aggression. But former negotiators who sat across the table dealing with Iran's nuclear program argue this American military approach misses a massive, undeniable flaw. The assumption that the U.S. Navy can simply steam in and permanently seize control of this transit route ignores the physical and legal geography of the region. This map shows the specific choke point between Iran, Oman, and the Persian Gulf. At its narrowest point, the Strait of Hormuz is exactly 21 miles wide. Under UN law of the sea, a coastal nation exercises sovereignty exactly 12 miles from its borders. Applied here, the math creates a complication. Iran claims 12 miles south, Oman claims 12 miles north. Overlapping, these claims completely swallow the 21-mile strait. The two nations formalized this back in 1974, signing a bilateral agreement to jointly manage the shared waters. Because of this arithmetic, there are no international waters in the narrowest part of the strait. Every cargo ship and military vessel passing through is technically navigating through the sovereign territory of either Oman or Iran. Despite holding this geographic leverage, Iran allowed the strait to remain open to global commercial transit for 47 years. That status quo held until the military attacks against Iran, led by the US and Israel in April 2026. To the Iranian leadership, the 2026 conflict was an existential threat, specifically designed to trigger the total collapse of their state. Facing overwhelming conventional forces, Iran responded asymmetrically. They pulled on every geopolitical lever available, mobilizing allied proxy groups from the Houthis in Yemen to militias in Lebanon and Iraq to stretch American resources thin. Filtering traffic in the Strait of Hormuz was part of that same defensive calculus. For Iran, allowing U.S. warships free passage means legally permitting enemy weapons to flow through their own territorial waters to attack their mainland. Iran frames the current blockade as a calculated defensive tactic, triggered by the 2026 invasion. Trump's proposed counter-blockade must be reconciled with these territorial realities. The United States already applied its overwhelming naval and aerial dominance against Iran during the wars of 2025 and 2026. Both times, that immense military capacity failed to secure a definitive victory or bring down the Iranian government. Attempting to secure a commercial trade route by turning that 21-mile stretch into an active war zone creates an immediate problem for merchant vessels. Military force is unable to solve a choke point problem rooted in physical geography. Any missile fired or ship sunk in the strait threatens the immediate destruction of the supply chain you are trying to protect. Recognizing this geographic trap, an alternative is currently unfolding out of the spotlight. High-level delegations have been sitting in uninterrupted 24-hour direct negotiations in Islamabad. The diplomats in that room are trying to resolve two intertwined issues: the future of Iran's nuclear enrichment program and the restoration of normal transit through the Strait of Hormuz. The core bargain is simple. Iran agrees to return to the free flow of global trade, but only in exchange for an ironclad guarantee from the US and Israel that their national sovereignty will not face another military invasion. The global economy relies on the ships squeezing through that narrow gap, but naval warships cannot force that passage open. To protect the supply chains of international trade, the world first has to negotiate an agreement that guarantees Iran's survival.